Good evening guys, my name is John Henry and we will talk about Japan.
照らす闇僕らは歩き慣れてきた日々もどうだ夢は安泰な暮らしたが刺激分子ゆえにダラダラ照らすは闇僕らの歩き慣れていた道はどこだ時はたまにシャッターが曇りに包まれただほむらがあった土しるべの方へ思い出すは優しいメロディーいやはないんだぞないんだぞいやそれもまたいいなと笑ってみる輝けばいつかは光も絶え僕らは命の火が消えるその日まで歩いていく音が出る家具も痛みを飛ばす魔法も全部僕にとっての宝物いやはないんだぞないんだと行く僕らは命の火が消えるその日まで歩いてゆく
Why Japan is so famous? Well, Japan is known as worldwide for its trading arts, including tea ceremonies, calligraphy, and flower arranging. The country has legacy and of distinctive gardens, sculpture, and poetry. And one of the main reasons why Japan is so famous because of the food that named sushi, and it's so famous around the world, and many people are like it so much because of the taste of the food. The ingredients are so healthy, so that's all. And one of the main reasons why I love Japan and Japan is so great because Japan's art, sculpture, design, filming, dance, and their culture and tradition. And speaking of art, design, and their film, one of the main reasons why Japan is so famous around the world because of anime, video games, and manga. And one of the famous video games that created by the Japan is Genshin Impact, Honkai Impact, and Sword Art Online. And that is the main reason why a lot of people go to the Japan, and they will see how Japan is good it is, when we saw the good places that they see on the anime, and when they came to the Japan they will see the real place that they see in anime. And that's why Japan is so great and I love it so much. Now let's move on to the second one, where we will talk about the culture and tradition of Japan. The first that we will talk about is the language of Japan. Their national language is Japanese, which is the primarily spoken language across the country. All Japanese are Kanbun, originated from China and earliest Japanese texts. The Kojiki was written from early 8th century and was written primarily in ancient Chinese characters. Modern Japanese developed during the Edo period between 1603 and 1868. Modern Japanese consists of 3 alphabets. The first one is kanji, the logographic Chinese characters. The second one is hiragana, a phonetic Japanese alphabet. The third one is one of the famous Japanese alphabet, which is katana, a phonetic alphabet used for foreign words. The develops and widespread of use of katana is illustrative of Japanese recent adoption of Western cultures and ideas of words. And that's so fascinating. Now, let's talk about the religion in Japan. There are two main religions in Japan, the Shinto and Buddhism. Shinto is a Japanese religion, while Buddhism was imported in the 6th century from China. A recent poll found that 39% of people identify as Buddhist, and 3.9% as Shinto, and 2.3% as Christians. Now, let's talk about the celebrations in Japan. In Japan, the largest holiday is the New Year's celebration. During spring and summer, celebrations for the gods of land and the sea, or Matsuri, take place. Each town holds its own Matsuri, and these celebrations are widely attended by all. Now, let's talk about the sports in Japan. Sports are play significant role in Japanese culture. Sumo, judo, karate are traditional Japanese sports, and baseball, soccer, rugby has been adopted from the other cultures. Sumo is the national sport of Japan, and to this day this is primarily practiced only in Japan. Modern sumo was formed during the Edo era and little has been changed since. Baseball is the most watched sport in the country. It was first introduced to the country in 1872 and has grown in popularity ever since. Now, let's talk about the family structure in Japan. The traditional family unit in Japan is called kazoku, comprising of mother, father, and their children. Traditionally, the kazoku often live with their elderly parents. However, more recently, three-generation household numbers have fallen in favor of more modern arrangements. Now, let's talk about the cuisine in Japan. Across the nation, the Japanese are primarily fish eaters. Japan is the #1 fish importer in the world, consuming around 12% of the world caught fish. The most well-known Japanese dish is probably sushi, a dish that includes fresh fish, seaweeds, and lightly seasoned rice. Japanese are also eat beef, poultry, and pork as a part of their daily diets. That's all. Now, let's talk about the festivals in Japan. The first one is Yukimatsuri. During January to February, Yukimatsuri, also known as Sapporo Snow Festival, is held for about a week in Hokkaido. The festival is one of the Japan's most popular winter events, starting out in 1950 when a group of high school students built a snow statue in the local park. It since developed into huge culture events featuring snow ice sculptures which people compete in their making their own. It attracts more than 2 million visitors from Japan across the world every year. The second one is Ozimotori during month of March. Ozimotori Festival, also known as the Sacred Water Drawing Festival, take place over 2 weeks in March. In the city of Nara, the Buddhism festival is a ceremony cleanse of people their sins and bring the spring to the new year. Once the festival is over, the cherry blossom season blossoms. There are many different events that happen during the festival, but most famous Atamatsu during the Atamitsu giant fire torch that are up to the 8 meters long at walk to the top of balcony and shower down the crowd, which is through the bestow people with safe health and happier. Who knew fire could be blessing of safety? Well, I didn't know to. The third is Kanamara Matsu Festival in April. This is a bit a strange one. Japan's infamous Venice Festival. Japan is a unique country and they like to do things differently. And Kanamara Matsuri is set in Kawasaki, Tokyo. It's no different. This festival is gained international recognition with wide coverage of all sorts of social platforms and news worldwide. The festival takes place annually on the first Sunday of April and has a few different stories about where the festival originated from. One tale involves a woman who had demon living in her vagina. A bit of the penis of the new whale husband. That's right, she did it twice. After the visit of blacksmith, she was made a street penis which the demons broke its teeth on, letting her return to live a normal life. Demon-free life. Another tale is about the goddess giving birth to the fire of God, leaving us suffering with injuries of lower half of her body. Two kind gods help heal her then injuries, leading the people today seeking help with venereal disease, fertility, and safe childbirth, praying to these gods for their blessings. Aomori Nebuta Matsuri during August of month. Japan's most colorful festival take place in August, featuring stunning floats shaped as mythology creatures and famous Japan characters. Nebuta refers to the float of a brave warrior figure, which gets carried through the center of the city. The festival uses these creature inspiration floats that replicate armies in the 800s to scare away the enemies. The floats are normally made from the cotton, cloth, and bamboo. The highlights of the festival is daily parade of numerous lantern floats, surrounded by the large drums, musicians, and dancers. As a tourist, you can enjoy the food, soak up the live music, culture dance, and the mesmerizing light up floats. The fourth is Gyonatsuri during July. Arguably, this is known as the mother of all Japanese celebrations. This festival began as part of the purification ritual to appease the gods through the cause of fire, floods, and earthquakes. The event itself is so popular that it gets celebrated for the whole month of July with something different. Happening nearby every day, it's a huge event in Kyoto culture and loved by the local and tourists alike, with favorite events held on 17th and 24th of July. For visitors, the most enjoyable part of the festivals in Yoyama events held on the 3 evening precede to the main float processions. This is the Kyoto really lets loose. If you can lay your hands on the yukata, why not to get dressed up and enjoy the fun?